So this about 4 or 5 days ago, I had an accident on my scooter. It was pretty bad. I got second or third degree burns, middle of the night, 20 miles an hour on the sidewalk. And what happened was, and see, so let's jump ahead a little bit. Jump ahead a lot. So it's 4 or 5 days ago. It was last Saturday. Today's Wednesday night or Thursday. I'm not sure. The part of the writer's life is you can really easily use track of what day it is, because I work. I get to choose the 80 hours a week I work. So I had this accident on my scooter, and after it, and there's all these components. There's that I thought this would make a great post for Instagram. Yeah, this would be. I got to share this with my followers, fellow readers and or writers. I got to share this story. It's gonna be great. It's got blood, lots of blood. It's got high pain, nighttime, high speed. Well, high speed for a scooter. But I was thinking about it, and I thought, I just felt like it wasn't worthy of story inclusion. It wasn't worthy of something to tell you about in my video here about the writer's life. What does this have to do with my writer's life? What does this have? It's got something to do with my life, right? I've had to adjust, and I did go to eventually went to the urgent care, but not right away, a couple days later. But I just felt like it's got all these components. It's got to be perfect. There's got to be something that I must love to share about this story. And I just thought, no, something's missing. And I couldn't figure out what was missing. And I thought, well, I know who's my audience. Well, that's important. That's extremely important. When I'm trying to decide to include a story or not in my memoir or somebody else's memoir, something from their life, or if I'm writing a fiction story and I need to decide of 157 historical documents about this. I'm writing, one of my stories I'm writing right now is ghostwriting is a memoir of a house that's about 157 years old. We've got all these stories to choose from. How do we decide which stories are worthy of inclusion? And in my own personal life, when something like this happens, how do I decide if I should include it or not? And I thought, I don't know, I can't. I've got the audience down, and so, well, what else am I needing? I need something emotional. What's emotional? It was painful, and I was tired, and I had just come from a really great night. Went to a furry gathering of furries at the mall. That was fun. And yeah, so there's all kinds of stuff I could connect to the story. It'd be fun. It'd be entertaining. I'm a freaking professional storyteller. Why am I having an issue deciding not to tell this story for 5 minutes, which is the length of my videos that I aim for, right? And I thought, well, it's missing a strong emotion that offers me something, an emotion I've had before, but also in a different angle or something different, a nuance or something different. I've had pain before. I've had a lot of pain before. I had a spinal infection 2 years ago that in the winter of 2020, whatever it was, 2024, and I lost the ability to walk, and it took 6 months to figure out what was going on, and nobody knew. And the pain was slow, and it got bigger and bigger and bigger over time, and I went in and out of the hospital, and they still couldn't figure out what it was, and they eventually gave me morphine to treat the pain, and I was great for a day, and I went home and I was back up again, and I went back the next day for morphine. But 6 months later, even morphine didn't help. The pain was insane. The only peace I got was laying on my back not moving, and I couldn't walk anymore. And Friday they took a spinal tap, and then they said, this is a couple of years ago, on a Friday they said, well, we found out that you have MSSA. We don't know and that's antibiotics will treat that. So we've started you on antibiotics, but we don't know if you might have MRSA, because MRSA is born out of MSSA. And so over the weekend there's a petri dish here, and this is Friday, but come Monday we'll know for sure. It takes a few days. And if you have MRSA, it'll come out of that, because it was birthed out of MSSA in the first place. It's hardier. It's very hardy. It doesn't respond very well to antibiotics. Probably have to have spinal surgeries. You may never walk again. So I had that to live with over the weekend. That's worthy of an inclusion in my memoir. But this story, not really. Why? Because it's just, if it was the only story I had, then it might be worthy of inclusion. So that's the thing when you're trying to decide what to include in your memoir or what personal story to use in a post on Instagram, or look, I've given you some details, but I've left out a whole bunch of drama. And why? Because it's just not worthy of sharing. I shared it with 3 people. I'll probably tell it one more time, in my life, maybe twice, and then I'm done.